Oil prices are taking a major beating. Saudi Arabia and Russia are going head to head. They had a disagreement on Friday about curbing oil production. The young prince made the mistake of trying to get Russia, calling them out, saying, hey, we're going to curb production by 1.5 million, and we're going to take the brunt of it. At least you can take this much of it. And Russia didn't appreciate that. There was no formal agreement. They called him out on public media, and Russia didn't appreciate that. And so Russia does what Russia does. You don't piss off the Russian bear. They have more pride and more military force in that region than Saudi Arabia, and they're not going to put up with it. And so what do? They walk away from the table, and Saudi Arabia is retaliating a direct attack against Russia, and they're going to flood the markets with oil. Right now, oil prices are $30-something a barrel, $33 Brent crude. It's the lowest price swing drop since 1991, 25%. It dropped because Saudi Arabia decided to slap Russia on the face and say, you know what? This is what we're going to do since you're not willing to work with us. And you're essentially taking the chess table and knocking the pieces onto the ground. It's kind of childish, but at the same time, they've already been planning this. Saudi Arabia has always wanted to go head-to-head against Shale. This is going to put Shale out of their misery. Shale is already hurting right now. They're already devastated by the average price of $55 a barrel over the last 5 years. What do you think is going to happen at $30-something a barrel with Saudi Arabia pumping this oil into the markets? And so without OPEC, the whole point of the formation of OPEC is to control oil prices and keeping them stabilized. But now they're doing the exact opposite. They're pumping more oil into the industry. So Saudi Arabia is pissing off America. It's pissing off Russia, Iran, Venezuela, and also all of OPEC, because they, on their own accord, they said, fine, we're going to pump more oil into the industry. So the question is, what's going to happen to Shale? What is Russia going to do? Saudi Arabia needs Russia. Russia does not need Saudi Arabia near as much as Saudi Arabia needs them. Okay. Saudi Arabia has had American military protection because, quite simply, we agreed to protect their oil assets if they would sell their crude in U.S. currency. That was in order to make U.S. currency the most powerful currency in the world, because, quite simply, every time Russia, China, every country in the world bought or imported oil from Saudi Arabia, it had to be done in U.S. currency. And so I've got someone calling me here. But bottom line, what is Russia going to do? And I've read every single article this morning about oil prices, about Russia, about Saudi Arabia, about why is Saudi Arabia doing this. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and a lot of people, one thing I'm not hearing is, what is Russia going to do? And I think it's quite laughable that someone would believe that Russia is going to come back to the table to negotiate. But once the Russian bear gets agitated, he's going to run you over. I mean, if Putin had the balls to tell America, stay out of Venezuela and move their military force in there, I don't think Saudi Arabia is a concern. Saudi Arabia needs Russian protection. Russia is a force to be reckoned with in the Middle East. Their military force is growing. Look what they're doing in the Middle East, and you'll know that they're not one to play games. And so you see, this is information warfare. Russia can live with $25 oil for years. Russia and Saudi Arabia are touting, hey, we could last longer than you. Hey, it's okay if oil prices drop down to 50 cents a barrel. We could make money at a nickel. Well, it's just a price war that they're trying to outlast one another. But at the end of the day, both of them wanted this to happen because this is the only way to put Shale out of their misery. Shale has been the thorn in Russia's side, in Saudi Arabia's side. And so after oil prices collapse in the world's worst drop in nearly 3 decades, courtesy of the renewed Saudi-Russian rivalry on the oil markets, Russia's finance ministry said on Monday that Moscow had enough resources to cover budget shortfalls amid oil prices at $25 to $30 a barrel. Okay, seriously, Russia, you are so full of crap. I don't believe anything you have to say. This is all about a war between Saudi Arabia, America, Russia, and the in OPEC. Bottom line, you're going to tout and tell people, hey, we could live through this for the next 30, 40 years. We'll be okay. Look, you can't survive this. You're losing 100 million a day, Russia. In Saudi Arabia, their Aramco stock dropped 10% today. And so everybody's hurting because of this. All right. So the question is, what is Russia going to do? How are they going to retaliate? Are they going to use military? Are they going to threaten Saudi Arabia? I don't know. And this is something that I'm not seeing in the news and something I'm not reading about. The price of Russian export grade euros dropped to below 42.40 a barrel on Monday. Oil prices tumbled 30% after Saudi Arabia launched an all-out price war with Russia following the collapse of OPEC Plus group with no deal outcome of talks on Friday. 42.40 euros price is the price at which Russia's budget is balanced. The Russian Finance Ministry said on Monday, noting that the country's sovereign wealth fund, the National Wealth Fund, NWF, had a March 1st liquid assets worth US $150.1 billion, 9.2% of Russia's gross domestic product. So that wealth fund doubled in 2019 because of the OPEC Plus deal that has brought significant economic benefits to Russia. And so that wealth fund has doubled because of their alliance with Saudi Arabia. So it's mutually beneficial to both of them. But at the end of the day, why would they continue this relationship when all this is doing is benefiting U.S. Shale? Nobody's making significant, in order to balance Saudi Arabia's balance sheets, financial balance sheets, they need $85 oil. But all they're doing is by curbing production, all they're doing is allowing Shale to survive. And so this process will last forever. And so I'm actually glad this is happening. I'm actually happy that oil prices are plummeting right now because Shale needs to go. Now, do I want Shale American workers? I mean, I've got a lot of friends in Shale, and it's going to hurt them. But at the end of the day, they should have never developed Shale in the first place. Oil prices at $100-something a barrel, it made sense to develop Shale. The big Chevron, for instance, Chevron had no place to develop. Shale was their only option. Where else can you go to spend billions and billions of dollars? Okay, so right now, so the question is, okay, Sean, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. Hey, who's going to blink first? Russia, Saudi Arabia? Is Russia going to humble themselves? I doubt it. Is Russia going to use military forces Saudi Arabia's hand? Because Russia's in the Middle East. They're empowered in the Middle East. And Saudi Arabia needs protection. They need protection. They don't have America. And personally, I think Trump is laughing right now. He's laughing because Russia and Saudi Arabia are going at it and the Middle East is falling apart. Venezuela is falling apart. That's Russia's ally. So this is not only slapping the face of Russia because of Russian economy, but also slapping the face of Russia twice because it's hurting their allies. Okay, but here's the thing: Saudi Arabia is not only hurting Russia, Venezuela, but their enemies Iran and Shale. So it's actually a pretty smart move for Saudi Arabia to do this. Okay, and they're regaining their market share. And so how do we make money at $30-something a barrel at WTI? Well, some people are shorting oil. Okay, but the thing is, shorting is a lot more risk than just investing in the stock market. Chevron stock. If you look at the Chevron stock here, they are dying here. As of today, it's $80 per a share, and it didn't hit that price since 2015 at 77. All of that increase has been lost because of Saudi Arabia. And here's the thing. Chevron stock is never going to come back because they're too heavily invested in shale. So investing in the stock market right now doesn't make any sense because then you might as well invest in shale. It's never coming back. The only way I see anybody can make money in oil is investing directly into a conventional oil play. I'll give you an example. If you invest into an oil well, a conventional well, see, keep in mind, these are prices that were at 30 something dollars a barrel were very high in the early 2000s. 30 something dollars a barrel was really high for us. But why was it economically feasible then, but not now? Well, because Shale is the most expensive fields to develop. Okay. But let's say you drill a well for 700,000. Okay. And let's say that well produces 50 barrels a day. Well, if you take 50 barrels a day, multiply that times 30 days. Okay, that's 1,500 barrels of oil a month. All right. Let's multiply that times 12 months. All right. So that means at 50 barrels a day, you're producing 18,000 barrels of oil a year. Okay. So let's multiply that times $30 oil. Okay. That's 540,000 gross. It costs $700,000 to drill a conventional well. And it's producing $540,000 a year gross. To me, that's a pretty good investment. Okay. And now the beauty of this thing is now you're receiving a revenue while everyone else is losing on the stock market. While everyone else investing in Shale is losing. Everybody that invested in Chevron is losing their butts right now. But while this continued price war continues, you could receive incredible revenue from oil. So anyways, if you'd like to learn more, go into my description, click my link below, and you could receive some information. If you like these videos, please subscribe. My name is Sean Pruitt. I'm president of Kingdom Exploration. Please subscribe to these videos. I'm going to be following this very closely. All eyes are on Russia right now. What is their retaliation? What are they going to do? Saudi Arabia, what are they going to do? How long is this price war going to continue? Great chatting with you guys. I'll see you down the road. Thanks.